Hi, what's going on? It's your boy, Mr. Locario, the bad boy of the dating game. What's good? So, I got an email from one of my peoples, and it says, Yo, Mr. Locario, I just got dumped by my ex-girlfriend because she said she felt she couldn't handle a relationship with all the problems going on in her life right now. However, this same chick used to tell me stuff like she wouldn't survive if I left her because I was the one for her and that she couldn't see herself living anymore without me. I've had this with all the women I've been with that dumped me. They say all this sweet shit during the relationship, but in the end, they cold-heartedly dump like they never meant any of it. Why do women say all this stuff without meaning it? All right. So this is a very good question, man. This is a very good, thing we're about to talk about today because, I've been through this shit and a lot of other guys have been through this stuff, and it's hard to understand because, it's things like this. This is a lot of stuff that women will do that you just won't understand. And I'm going to explain why these women will do these things and, what you should do basically in these situations, right? So, you're basically saying like, well, you're in the relationship. The chick is like, yo, everything is awesome. I'm feeling you. I love you. I can't imagine not being with you. You're the best and all this other stuff. And then all of a sudden it seems like they just flip. And then it's like, oh, well, I need space and I don't want to be with you anymore and all this other stuff. So it kind of seems like weird because you're thinking, why did this chick say all this shit? And then all of a sudden now it's like, nothing. You understand? And the thing you got to understand about women is this, is that, how women feel generally about things constantly change. All right. So how they feel about things constantly change. And, they basically go off of the feeling. You understand? And they go off of how they're feeling in that moment. Right. So, what happens is that the moment when she said, hey, I feel like you're the one and all this other stuff. You understand? She was feeling it in that moment. So she said it at that moment. You understand? So she really, she meant it at that moment. Right. And then when it comes time to where, you guys are breaking up and she's like, oh, well, I feel like I need space and all that other stuff. She's saying it because in that moment she feels like she needs that space or she needs to get away. You understand what I'm saying? At that moment, right? Now, when you look at it objectively, it's kind of like, well, that kind of makes sense because, 1 minute you're feeling this way and the next minute you're feeling another way, right? But the thing that's confusing for a lot of guys is that what happens is that women sort of, they put this like really like dramatic energy behind what they're saying. It's like, oh, I can't live without you. You're the one that I love, and in this and this and that. And a lot of that comes from, women being conditioned to, with all these romantic movies and the media and feeling, they love to romanticize the whole fucking, relationship. So you as the guy, you hear this stuff and you're like, oh, okay, this chick, yeah, she's really feeling me, she loves me and this and this and that. So you get caught up in it. And then all of a sudden when she just flips it, you're like, what the fuck just happened? I thought you couldn't live without me and now you're bouncing, right? And the thing is that women, they're how they feel about things constantly change, and they go, with how they feel in the moment. Then, also it's like their emotions and how they feel about the, things. It's like it's like they're like the weather. You understand? How the weather just 1 minute it's cold and it gets a little bit hot, then it starts raining, and it's just like you're like, what the fuck is up with this? And that's how women, will think and act. You understand? It's all about the moment at that time, right? And the thing is that a lot of guys get confused about this because what happens is that since they don't understand that it's about the moment, they think that when a woman says something to them in that moment, that means that she's going to feel that way for the long term, the long haul. You understand? Like, well, this is, I've had guys who said, they're like, hey, they hit me up and they're like, hey, Mrs. Locario, I was talking to this girl last week, and she basically said that she liked me, she thought I was cute. And then now I'm trying to call her and she's not returning my calls and I can't get through to her. And I'm like, well, when she was saying that she was feeling you and all of that, that was last week. You understand? So today's a new day. So now she probably feels different, which is why you're not getting with her. You understand? I've had times where I meet a girl at a bar, we're making out and shit, and we're kissing and touching and we're doing all that other shit. And I'm just like, yo, let's go back to, the spot. And she's like, oh, I can't because I got to get up early for work and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, cool. Let's exchange numbers and then I'll see you later. You understand? And then, a day or two later, I hit her up. Nothing. You understand? Like, nothing. I don't hear no return of the call and all that other stuff. Like, that stuff happens, right? So the thing is that, you're asking, why do women say all this stuff without meaning it? And again, they mean it when they say it, but how they feel will change sometimes. That's just how it goes, right? And, a lot of this has to do with, also the maturity level of a woman, because you're probably saying, well, if women's, feelings and all this other stuff change so quick and then it's going to dictate how they act, like, how do I actually keep a chick if at any moment she can just, feel this way and, bounce or whatever? You understand? And the thing is, the reason why I'm saying it, it matters about the maturity is because a chick who's mature and who's sort of just a little bit more in tune with herself, if she's feeling you, right, but at the same time she might be feeling a certain way about things, you understand, she'll acknowledge that she's feeling that way, but she still most likely will stick it through and keep seeing you. That's if she's like really feeling you to that point. Do you understand? Most of the girls who have that immature thing going on, they'll just basically go where the wind takes them. Do you understand? They'll just go where their emotions take them. And those chicks, you just got to charge them. So, it seems like the girls that you've been dealing with, what happens is that those are the type of girls who sort of have that immature outlook where they're just going off of how their emotions are at the moment. They're telling you how they feel at the moment, and they're literally just going with how their emotions are feeling at that moment and just doing what it dictates to them. You understand? So one minute your girl's like, oh, this is so awesome, and oh, I can't live without you, and you're the best, and you're the one, and I've been searching for you all my life, and the sun and the moon and the stars, and it's all about you, baby, because I love you, and you're so awesome, and you're the best, and blah, blah, blah. So they're saying all of this shit, and then next thing you know, they're like, you know what, I just feel like I need space. I need time to think. I need, you know what I'm saying? So those chicks, they're just going all over the place, right? But the chicks who are some mature shit, you understand? They know how to communicate better. They say, hey, I feel this way. Can we talk about this? Blah, blah, blah. Y'all could talk about it. Y'all could, pull through and make that happen. And those girls, those are the ones that shit could actually work out with, that you'll probably have better long-term relationships with, right? So, when it comes to this girl or these girls that you're dealing with, the one, with your ex-girlfriend, just charge that. Just be like, hey, okay, well, it is what it is. You keep it moving, talk to other women, and, notice the ones who are a little bit more, mature and in tune with who they are. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because, a chick who's really feeling you, right? Even though she feels a certain way, like let's say her emotions may make her sway to feel a certain way, she's just not going to up and leave just because, she's like, feeling a certain way today. You understand what I'm saying? Like if she's really in love with you and she really is feeling you, she's just not going to up and leave. Now, that doesn't mean that your relationship will last forever, because you never know. Certain things might go down where, at some point, no matter how long you've been with a person, things can always change. I even did a video about this the other day where I was talking about, every relationship that you have will come to an end. Either you're going to break up or you're going to die. You understand? So you just got to enjoy those moments that you're with these chicks. You understand what I'm saying? And the thing is, I don't want you guys to think that, hey, all these girls are just lying. I just need you to understand that for a lot of them, they're just going off of how they feel at that moment. And, once you understand that, you sort of understand women just a little bit more. And then knowing that information, now you know what you can do to really, maneuver with that. Because in your situation, what happens is, in your situation, a lot of guys, what they'll try to do is, since, they like their girlfriend or whatever, and now she's the ex-girlfriend, what they would try to do is they'll try to call her up and try to beg her to come back. And, but I thought we had something going, and I thought we were, you said that, you said that you really loved me and you couldn't picture life without me. So what happened? And no, you don't need to do all of that. You understand? If, the chick is gone and she's bouncing, you know what I'm saying? Just let her bounce. Don't contact her. Ignore her ass. And then what usually happens with these girls is that they get out here back into the dating game or whatever the hell, and they mess around with these morons. You understand that, don't know what the hell's going on, or these douchebag type dudes. And then what happens is that at some point she's like, damn, why the fuck did I leave the dude I was with? What was I thinking? And then in most cases, if she's feeling you, she's going to try to come back and, holler at you. But it's only going to happen if you just chill the fuck out and ignore her ass. You understand what I'm saying? So for any guys that are in this particular situation, where your girl dumped you or whatever, and the reason why she did it in this situation is because of how she was just feeling at that time, just let her be, let her go. You understand? Don't be scared to lose her. You understand? Don't be scared to, kick her to the curb and say, okay, you're going to be like that, then cool, whatever. You understand? You might feel hurt a little bit at the time. You might feel a little sad, like, damn, my girl is gone or whatever. But you got to stand firm and stay strong. And you have to be that dude who is the rock. You understand? And, a lot of guys don't understand. You have to be the type of guy who is, very firm in who he is and what he's about, right? Because what happens is that if you notice in this email, you're saying that, the chick, she basically was like, oh, she felt she can't handle the relationship with all the problems going on in her life, whatever. But then you're saying at the same time, she was the same chick who was saying stuff like she couldn't live without you and you're the one and all this other stuff. So she's flip-flopping all over the place, right? What you don't want to do as a man, you don't want to be flip-flopping all over the place like a woman does. Do you understand what I'm saying? You need to be centered. You need to be, that rock. Do you understand? And then she is the fucking wind and the rain doing all this crazy shit going all over the place. You understand? And, if in this particular situation, if she's feeling you and she, comes to her senses, she'll be hitting you back. But the thing is, you have to be that rock. You have to, do your thing, ignore her, stay on course with what you're trying to do, talk to other girls. And, in those situations with like this, where you have an ex-girlfriend and you actually want her back, she probably will be coming back to you if, you know what I'm saying, you stand firm and you chill. You understand? But just generally speaking, for all you guys out there, you just have to remember that this is how women, this is how they are. This is why you don't necessarily have to, be trying to beg a chick to be with you or trying to sweat a girl or doing all this other craziness, because girls, they're just going to go off of how they feel at that moment. You're going to be chilling with a girl. Everything's going to be perfect and it's going to be awesome. You guys are going to be getting all sexual. Everything's going to be great. And then next thing you know, you don't hear from her. You understand? Or, you meet a chick, you talking to her and you get her number. Everything seems cool and you don't hear from her. Right. But then all of a sudden out of the blue, she just calls you like a week or a month later, and you're like, well, hey, what the heck was going on? You know, like you're like, damn, like you didn't expect that, because what happens is at that moment when she gave you the number, she was feeling you. Then when you hit her up 2 or 3 days later, she was like all up in her head doing a whole bunch of other goofy shit, and you know, she was like not in the mood to talk to anybody or whatever because of some bullshit that's going on in her life, right? Then next thing you know, a couple weeks later or a couple days later, she, you know, you pop in her head and she's thinking about you, and she's like, oh, what's up with that guy? Let me call him now. I'm in the mood to talk to this guy. You know, that's how they are. You understand what I'm saying? So you don't really need to, you know, do all this extra shit. Just do you. You're going to run into the chicks who are feeling you and who have that continuous feeling for you. Those are the ones who you pay the most attention to, the ones who are reciprocating that interest, the ones who have the mutual interest. And the ones who are more mature are the ones that you can have those long-term relationships with, the ones who aren't going to just, you know, bail just because she's feeling some way at this moment right now. You understand? So, you know, you just got to look out for that, all right? So that is it, guys. Yeah, I think this is a little bit longer than usual. But, you know, I had just a lot to say about this. I thought this is a very interesting, you know, email, because I think a lot of guys go through this. But it's, you know, I've never really discussed this situation. And this situation is important for all men to understand that, you know, the way women act, they're, you know, generally going to act this way. You understand? And you just have to act accordingly. You understand? Like, you don't have to go all out and do all this crazy shit. You just be centered, you be a man, and you deal with the chicks who are cooperating, and, you know, and just do what you got to do. All right. So that's it. I'm out of here. Click the link below if you need to send me a question. Also click the link under that to get my free ebook, The Magnificent 10 Crucial Dating Tips for Men. And the link under that, go to badboymembership.com, where you get 45 through 90-minute audio and video tutorials every month. I will holler at you guys later. Remember, the truth is inside you. Peace. I'm gone. Hey, what's up? It's dating and life coach Mr. Locario. Go to badboymembership.com and master the dating game by joining my Bad Boy Membership program. In this program, you'll receive 45 through 90-minute, easy to follow, step-by-step dating advice tutorials that's guaranteed to help you attract, date, and have sex with beautiful women. Join the Bad Boy Membership today by going to badboymembership.com. That's badboymembership.com.